In the vast darkness of space, where stars shone like distant diamonds, a name haunted the galaxy. It was whispered in fear on every planet, in every star system, and among every species: the Krell Dominion. No one knew where they came from. No one knew their numbers. All anyone knew was that the Krell were unstoppable. Entire fleets disappeared before they could even fire a shot. Worlds fell silent under their shadow. Cities burned. Civilizations vanished. And still, the Krell advanced. Councils of leaders met in secret chambers. Empires trembled. Even the strongest warriors in the galaxy felt their knees weaken when the name was spoken aloud. "Do not fight them," the elders warned. "They are gods of destruction. Resistance is death." And yet, somewhere in the deep reaches of space, a small, blue planet spun quietly around an unremarkable star. On that planet lived humans, an untested, young species that no one paid attention to. No one, that is, except fate. The first sign that things might change came quietly. A small human colony ship drifted near the edge of Krell space. It was weak, poorly armed, and almost invisible to anyone watching. The Krell noticed it, and they attacked. The humans were scared. They knew this could be the end. But fear did not break them. They fought back. Not with fleets as strong as the Krell, not with weapons as terrifying, but with courage. Each human crew member refused to surrender. They dodged, adapted, and counterattacked with a ferocity no one expected. The Krell commander, overseeing the attack, laughed. His voice boomed in the ship's comms. "Pathetic creatures," he sneered. "You will die quickly, and your deaths will be meaningless." Hours passed. The humans were small. The Krell were many. And yet, when the smoke cleared, the Krell fleet was badly damaged. Ships that were supposed to be unstoppable were shattered. For the first time in recorded history, the Krell had tasted struggle and frustration. The galaxy began to notice. Rumors spread like wildfire. Did humans fight back? Species whispered to each other in fear and disbelief. No one survives a Krell attack. Meanwhile, the humans did not celebrate. They mourned their losses, repaired their ships, and learned quickly from each battle. They were ordinary creatures, fragile in appearance, but dangerous in ways the galaxy had never seen. Their weapons were not the strongest, but their will was unbreakable. Their numbers were few, but they thought as one. Their weakness became their greatest strength. On a distant Krell warship, another commander spoke grimly to his officers. "Something is wrong. These humans, they do not fear us. Every other species begs for mercy. Every other fleet surrenders. Why do they resist? Why do they fight?" No one had an answer. And that was the problem. The Krell had never faced a species like this. For centuries, they ruled with terror, and terror had always worked. But humans were different. And in that difference lay a storm that would shake the galaxy to its core. For now, the humans returned home. They carried losses, but also a dangerous truth: they were alive. And their survival was a message no one could ignore. A message that whispered across the stars: the Krell were not invincible. Somewhere deep in the cosmos, the Krell Dominion prepared their next move. And somewhere on a small blue planet, humans gazed at the stars, unaware that soon, their courage would echo across the galaxy. No one knew what would happen next. But one thing was certain: the galaxy had changed forever. The stars were quiet that day, but tension hung in the air like a storm about to break. The Krell fleet, massive and terrifying, glided toward the outer rim of human space. Their ships were black, sharp-edged, and bristling with weapons designed to annihilate entire planets. On the bridge of the lead Krell warship, Commander Vark's claws tapped impatiently on the control console. "There it is," he growled. "A human colony ship. Weak. Defenseless. It will fall before it even sends a signal." The humans knew nothing of the Krell's reputation. They were exploring, mapping, and learning about the galaxy. But that small curiosity would soon bring them face to face with the most feared species in the universe. The Krell fired the first strike. Massive beams tore through space, slicing the human ship in half. The alarm klaxons screamed. Humans scrambled to respond. Engineers worked frantically, pilots dodged impossible shots, and scientists coordinated desperate maneuvers. Commander Elena of the human vessel shouted to her crew, "Stay calm. Don't panic. We fight. That's our only choice." The Krell commander laughed. "Look at them," Vark hissed to his officers. "They have no fear. Pathetic. But the humans did fear. They feared death. They feared annihilation. Yet, fear became their fuel. They did not surrender. They adapted, improvising weapons and tactics that the Krell could not anticipate. Human fighters darted like sparks in the dark void of space, striking Krell ships where they were vulnerable. Hours passed. One by one, Krell ships began to falter. Their perfect formations collapsed under a small, relentless species that refused to yield. Commander Vark's anger grew. Impossible! How can such weak creatures fight like this? By the end of the battle, the human colony ship was battered, but it had survived. Krell ships were destroyed, retreating in confusion and frustration. This was not how things were supposed to go. Across the galaxy, word began to spread. Humans fought back and won. Whispers echoed from planet to planet. No one believed it at first. No species had ever resisted the Krell, and survived. Back on the human ship, Elena watched the stars streak past as they repaired their damaged vessel. "We survived," she whispered to herself, a mixture of relief and disbelief on her face. "We actually survived." Somewhere in deep space, the Krell fleet regrouped. Vark's claws clenched the armrest of his command chair. "This species, they are dangerous. We cannot underestimate them. We must crush them. Every one of them." And for the first time, a ripple of doubt passed through the minds of the Krell. The universe that they had ruled without opposition for centuries suddenly seemed uncertain, unstable, and vulnerable. Humans had made their first contact with the galaxy's deadliest predators, and they had survived. But this was only the beginning. The galaxy watched silently, waiting. And the Krell, proud and merciless, did not yet know that their greatest challenge had only just begun. The galaxy had begun to whisper the name humans, with a mixture of awe and disbelief. A species once thought weak had stood against the Krell dominion and survived. But survival was only the beginning. The Krell did not forget easily. Their fleets moved like shadows across star systems, hunting humans wherever they appeared. Entire colonies were on high alert. Every starship knew that any encounter with Krell forces could mean instant destruction. Yet, humans did not hide. They prepared. They trained. They learned from every skirmish, turning mistakes into strategies and fear into strength. Even their simplest weapons became deadly in the hands of those who refused to bow. In the frozen wastelands of Jarni's Prime, human soldiers held their ground against Krell war machines twice their size. In the floating jungles of Valora, human fighters struck swiftly and vanished, leaving Krell commanders frustrated and enraged. In the void of space, human ships darted like shadows, striking where no one expected. "Humans are unpredictable," a Krell admiral growled. "They do not fight like others. They do not fear like others. This is unnatural." The humans did not seek glory. They sought survival, and in the process, they became legends. Every battle they fought was a lesson for the galaxy. Courage could overcome power. Unity could overcome numbers. Humanity had discovered a weapon the Krell had never known: willpower. News of human victories spread across the stars. Other species, once enslaved or hiding, began to watch. Could these small, fragile creatures really challenge the mighty Krell? Could they inspire hope where fear had ruled for centuries? But the Krell were relentless. The War of Shadows had begun. Every system became a battlefield. Every planet a potential trap. The Krell attacked with fury, expecting humans to break, to kneel, to beg like every other species had done. And every time, humans refused. At the Battle of Xiron Cluster, a squadron of human pilots faced overwhelming Krell forces. They were outnumbered 10-1. The odds were impossible. And yet, through clever maneuvers and sheer determination, the humans turned the battle into a victory. Krell ships exploded in fire and debris, and their commanders could not understand what had just happened. "We cannot underestimate them," Vark hissed again, frustration darkening his voice. "No species has survived this long. No species has defied us. Not like this." The galaxy began to hope. Whispered rumors grew louder. Perhaps the Krell were not invincible. Perhaps, finally, there was a species brave enough to challenge them. Humans did not claim victory. They did not celebrate. Each battle was a reminder of the cost, the lives lost, the planets destroyed. Yet, they pressed on, unwavering. They knew the Krell would not stop. They knew the war would only get worse. In the shadows of the galaxy, humans had learned one thing. Fear could be overcome, but only if they never let it control them. And so they fought, harder, smarter, and braver than ever before, ready to face the darkness that threatened to consume them all. The War of Shadows had only begun. And somewhere deep in the void, the Krell realized the unimaginable. Humans were not just survivors. They were a force to be reckoned with. The galaxy waited. The Krell prepared. And humans were ready. The Krell had ruled the galaxy for centuries, crushing every species that dared to resist. They believed themselves invincible, unstoppable, and unchallenged. But the humans had changed everything. The Battle of Asterion was about to prove it. 1,000 Krell warships loomed in the system, black and menacing, ready to annihilate a small human fleet. The humans were outnumbered. Their ships were battered, their crews exhausted. Every advisor, every scientist, every soldier knew the odds were against them. Yet, the human commanders did not waver. Commander Elena, her eyes steady and voice calm, addressed her fleet. "We are outnumbered. We may lose ships. We may lose friends. But we will not surrender. We fight. Together. Always." And so they did. The battle began with deafening blasts of light and sound. Krell ships tore through space, expecting humans to flee. But humans were everywhere. Dodging, weaving, striking, disappearing into asteroid fields, and reappearing where the Krell least expected them. Each human ship seemed fragile, yet every strike was precise, calculated, and deadly. The Krell had never faced enemies like this. Their weapons, designed to destroy entire planets, were failing against creatures who refused to fear death. "Impossible!" Commander Vark roared as a Krell destroyer exploded beside him. "They are only humans. How can so few destroy so many of us?" The human fleet pressed on. They used the environment, the asteroids, the gas clouds, even the gravitational pull of the nearby star, to trap the Krell in their own formations. Ships collided, weapons jammed, and the Krell found themselves fighting a war they could not predict. Hours passed. Slowly, Krell ships began to fall. The so-called unstoppable armada, feared by every species in the galaxy, was breaking apart. For the first time, the Krell experienced fear. Not the fear of losing a battle, but the fear of losing everything. Their arrogance, their centuries of domination, crumbled before a species they had underestimated. When the smoke cleared, the human fleet, though battered and weary, had survived. The Krell armada was shattered. The galaxy, which had once trembled at the mere mention of Krell, now whispered a new name: humans. Elena surveyed the wreckage, her face calm but her eyes burning with resolve. "This is only the beginning," she said. "We fight not just to survive, but to protect every life that cannot protect itself." The Krell fled into the void, their pride broken, their empire shaken. And across the galaxy, hope was reborn. For the first time, the oppressed species whispered, "Maybe there is a chance. Maybe humans can lead us." Humans had achieved the impossible. They had turned the tide of war, showing the galaxy that courage, unity, and determination could overcome the greatest power the stars had ever known. But the war was not over. The Krell still existed. They still hungered for revenge. And somewhere, hidden among the stars, the humans knew that the ultimate confrontation was yet to come. The turning point had arrived. The unstoppable had been stopped. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The galaxy had changed forever. The Krell Dominion, once the most feared species in existence, had suffered defeat after defeat at the hands of humans. Their empire, built on terror and domination, now trembled. The Krell retreated to their stronghold, hoping to regroup, to plan a counterattack. But humans were not just waiting for them, they were striking with purpose. Every human ship, every soldier, every mind united in one mission: to end the reign of fear, not just for themselves, but for every species that had suffered under the Krell. On the battlefield of Oranos Prime, the final confrontation began. The Krell approached with pride, believing their numbers and firepower would crush the humans once and for all. Commander Elena stepped onto the bridge of the human flagship, her voice calm but resolute. "This ends today. Not with terror, not with hatred, but with justice. We fight for life, for freedom, for hope." The Krell attacked. Their weapons tore through space, and yet, humans moved with precision, striking where the enemy was weakest. Human fleets seemed to anticipate every Krell maneuver. It was as if the Krell were fighting not a species, but a force of nature. Hours passed. One by one, Krell ships fell. Their once mighty war machines now drifted as empty husks in the cold void of space. Commander Vark, cornered and desperate, could not believe what he saw. "No. This cannot be. We are Krell. No one survives us." Humans advanced. They did not kill without reason, but their presence was enough to break the spirit of the Krell. For the first time, a species that had never known defeat begged for mercy. "Please, spare us," Vark pleaded, his voice trembling. "We will obey, we will retreat. Just do not destroy us." Elena's eyes met his. She could see the arrogance of centuries crumbling before her. "You have had your chance to rule through fear," she said softly. "The galaxy will not suffer under your tyranny again. Go. Learn humility. Or your empire ends here." And so, the Krell retreated. Their empire weakened, their pride shattered, their name no longer whispered with fear, but with awe at the humans who had defeated them. Across the stars, the other species emerged from hiding. They looked to humans not just as survivors, but as leaders, protectors, and symbols of hope. The galaxy, once ruled by fear, now had a new legend. Every species feared the Krell, until humans made them beg for mercy. On Earth, humans looked up at the night sky, unaware of how far their courage had reached. They had faced the deadliest force the galaxy had ever known and had triumphed. Not through weapons alone, but through will, unity, and the refusal to surrender. And in that triumph lay a truth every species would remember forever. Strength is not measured by size, power, or fear. True strength lies in courage, in heart, and in standing for what is right, even when the odds are impossible. The galaxy was no longer the same. Fear had been replaced by hope. Darkness had been challenged by light. And humanity had become the force the stars would never forget. The Krell Dominion would remember this day for all time. And the universe learned a lesson it had never known. No matter how terrifying a predator may be, courage and unity can make even the strongest bow. Humans had not just survived, they had changed the galaxy forever.